Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming. I am Robert Hodges, Director of Academics here at the Rock School for Dance Education, and I'm excited that you're all here to help us celebrate this momentous day for these 9 students. Following on from last year's graduation, we're going to start today's celebration with one of our seniors singing the national anthem. So one of them is an accomplished vocalist and was excited at the prospect of doing this. So I'm pleased to introduce you to Miss Noe Linz.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Noe. That was lovely. So again, I'm excited to have all of you joining us today. So as we can celebrate the academic achievement of the class of 2024. So seniors, this is it. After 13 years, or 12 for some of you, this is the end. You've got about an hour, 90 minutes to go. So get comfy. The rest of you get comfy as well. And on YouTube, I'm assuming you're comfortable, because I know when I'm just watching on YouTube, I'm always very comfortable. So as hard as it is to believe, this marks the end of my 10th year running and overseeing Rock Academics. As I look out at the 9 of you, I am so grateful it's you 9 that are here with me to help me round out a decade of service to Rock students. All of you took a different route, slightly different route, or maybe a very different route to get here. But you're all here. You've all arrived at this destination. I'm so proud of each of you and everything you've accomplished in your time here. I'm proud of the person each of you has become. And I feel privileged to have been a part of that, even if in just some small little way. As we look to the future with all of you going your separate ways, I'm reminded of a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. There are no goodbyes for us. Wherever you are, you will always be in my heart. In your time here, you've all sat in my office, some more than others, hearing me go on and on, listening to advice I gave. I ask you now to indulge me one final time with perhaps a little bit more advice. So back in February, I started working with Kai on his graduation speech. He gets props for being the first to get started. Good job, Kai. Anyway, while I was editing it, I inserted a phrase that included a word that worked perfectly. It was great, but he was not a fan of this word. First, he removed much of the phrase that included the word, then he got rid of the word itself. Much later, it was probably a few weeks ago, I found that Zoe got a huge kick out of the fact that Ryan Gosling used the word to great comedic effect in the Barbie movie. It became a joke amongst many of the seniors, thinking it ludicrous that I wanted Kai to use this word. They were actually joking about it not 5 minutes ago in Studio B. So I told them I was going to make my speech about it, and I don't know if they thought I was serious, but I was. So seniors, what is the word? Sublime. Yep, the word is sublime. Upon reflection, I think the problem is that they, the seniors, don't actually understand what sublime really means and how it relates to them and what they do. Because I think if they did, they would appreciate the word much more instead of thinking it's a joke. So let's take a look at what sublime means and how it relates to them as dancers. So what is sublime? It means that to say something is sublime is to say that it is of such excellence, grandeur, or beauty as to inspire great admiration or awe. The sublime tends to inspire awe usually because of elevated quality, such as beauty, nobility, or grandeur, or because of transcendent excellence. That's my favorite term, transcendent excellence. I just love that. So is it just me, or does sublime sound like something a ballet dancer would appreciate? Perhaps even strive to achieve. I told the seniors that my speech would be about this. And so here it is. So why does any of this matter? Okay, so here I'm going to go off in a bit of a circuitous route, but we're going to get back. It'll make sense in the end. The crux of this speech actually came out of the discussion I had with the level 5 girls a few weeks back, which came out of a podcast I'd listened to. So basically at the end of the at the turn of the 19th century, end of the 18th, beginning of the 19th century, we saw the Enlightenment give way to the Romantic period. Put in different terms, we saw science, technology, logic, reason, orderly thinking give way to art and creativity. It was more complex than that, but let's just keep it in very general meta terms. It's easier. So Enlightenment thinkers like Locke, Voltaire, Rousseau, Montesquieu, they gave way to hugely popular Romantic artists like Turner and Byron, Shelley, and the immensely popular Beethoven. Beethoven, who at the height of his popularity was like a rock star in his hometown of Vienna. People craved more than a structured, machine-like society and way of living. They craved nature and the natural world. They craved the emotional. Does that sound vaguely familiar? Are we as a society moving in that direction? For instance, what the numbers tell us is that over the last number of years, starting even before the pandemic, people in the United States were leaving urban areas and moving to rural America. People are also giving up their smartphones for flip phones. And they're going on digital detox retreats. It tells me that as much as our world is being overrun by technology and algorithms and AI, people are really beginning to resent it and to turn away from it. And this is coming from someone who, oversees online, digital education. Nature and the natural world is becoming something to be desired. I believe that creativity and art will soon follow. And we'll see a resurgence of art for art's sake and not merely as a commodity. And on that note, here's a question for you all to ponder. A question that I'm sure is going to excite Ada, wherever she is, sitting right there. So, is Taylor Swift this generation's Beethoven? Is she a larger-than-life musician who uses her music and her status as a musician to subvert the established order of things, which is what Beethoven did? I can tell you that she's the latter. You'll have to decide for yourself if she's the former. Now, we're almost back to Sublime, but as a quick aside, what is art? What do we see as art? If art is going to replace or become huge in society, what is it? It can be defined as the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. I think ballet fits in there. It can also be, you can also look at it as simply as something that stirs emotion within you. Now, would you describe emotion as orderly or logical or reason-based? Most people don't. You don't really think of AI and algorithms when you think of emotion. I think of emotion as something that comes from deep within you, something natural and primal. And that's what art touches. That's something deep inside you. That's what it stirs, that natural primitive state that people are currently realizing they're really craving. Now, all of you sitting here looking quite dapper in your caps and gowns, whether or not you become professional ballet dancers, you're all artists. Every one of you. You create art. You stir emotions. Yes, even you, Kai. I firmly believe that as we move further into the 21st century, as your generation comes into prominence, art, real art, human-created art that is not the product of technology, but art that is made by and for humanity, is going to become increasingly more important. And you are going to be at the forefront of that movement. You have all trained as artists. You've learned from a young age how to create something that arouses emotions, that kindles the passions, that wakes up something deep inside the viewer. You are the standard bearers. It's not computer-generated art, but art made by humans, by you and others like you that stir emotions. So I ask you, each of you, all 9 of you, if you're going to create art, and I think you're all going to create art, and I sincerely hope you do create art, regardless of whether it's ballet or something else. Do you want to create just generic art? Art that lacks passion, that fails to create a primal emotional stirring? Or do you want your art to be of such excellence, such grandeur, such beauty that it inspires great inspiration? Great admiration. Do you want it to be dull art? Do you want it to inspire awe because of its transcendent excellence? There it is again. I love that term, transcendent excellence. I know each of you, and I can venture to say that while you may never have thought about it in those terms, you may be a little proud to admit it at this point, that each of you truly wants your art, the art that you make, and your life as an artist to be sublime. At least a little bit, and maybe at the Ryan Gosling level. Thank you. So every year, we hand out a few special Rock Academics Awards that highlight student success and their achievement. But this year, we've added a few more to highlight all the good that the student body has achieved this year, because this has been a great year, I'll just say that. This has been a phenomenal year. The kids have been great. The first award is the Rock School Volunteer Service Award. This award goes out in recognition of outstanding volunteer contributions in support of the Rock School community. The first student, unfortunately, had to nurse an injury for a while, and since she wasn't dancing, she spent hours of her own time in the costume shop helping Karen, our costume manager. For this, I'm happy to announce our first Rock School Volunteer Service Award recipient, Zoe Schmidt. The second student offered early in the year to assist with our Rock Reach outreach program. She consistently and selflessly gave of her own free time, and if truth be told, some Rock Academics time, to help out in all aspects of Rock Reach. I'm thrilled to announce the second Rock School Volunteer Service Award recipient, Lillian Wright. Next up is the Rock Academics Most Improved Student Award. We give one to a student in lower grades, that is 7th through 9th, and another to someone in the upper grades, 10th and 11th. These students have exhibited immense academic and personal growth over the past year, thereby helping create a better, more positive classroom experience. I, of course, am not going to dwell on what was, but focus instead on the students they have become. I am so proud of both of them, how far they've come and how much they've grown. I'm so happy to present to you the lower grades recipient of the Rock Academics Most Improved Student Award, Kamani Murphy. Who does not appear to be here. We will make sure to send it to her. I'm equally thrilled to present to you the upper grades recipient of the Rock Academics Most Improved Student Award, Ms. Jasmine Wong. The next award is the Rock Academic Student of the Year Award. Like the previous award, we give one to a student in the lower grades and another to someone in the upper grades. These students best represent the ideals of Rock Academics and the Rock School. The student must be hardworking and respectful. They must be dedicated to both dance and academics, and he or she must be engaged in supporting the Rock School community. The lower grade student, well, she's been a model student all year long. Her behavior has been impeccable, and her schoolwork has been even better. When level 5 and M2 would get rowdy, which happened not infrequently, she would be seen sitting at her desk, quietly doing her work. She's been an all-around excellent student and role model all year long. I'm pleased to present the Rock Academic Student of the Year Award for the lower grades to Abigail Egan. The upper grade student, I don't think there's going to be much of a surprise here. This second-year student is always on top of her schoolwork, no matter the number of rehearsals. She always brings a bright and cheery disposition, no matter what. She makes the classroom a better place just by being there. And on top of all that, she led the way and was the driving force behind this year's spring formal. I'm thrilled to announce the Rock Academic Student of the Year for the upper grades, Ada Risconi. Our final award, and the one the seniors are waiting for, is the Rock Academics Outstanding Senior Award. This award is presented to a graduating senior who best exemplifies the qualities of initiative, loyalty, and leadership. Picking this year's senior was brutal. I could literally pull any one of their names out of a hat and tell you exactly why they deserved the award, because they were all that good. But as the movie Highlander tells us, in the end, there can be only one. This student in the past had been relatively quiet, just doing her work. She was always nice, but never up front. When she arrived back at the school this past autumn, something had changed. She was assertive, not afraid to speak her mind. But even more importantly, she took the whole class, whether they knew it or not, under her wing. She would talk with me about issues with other students. She always wanted to know if she could help. So often a student would show up at my door and needing help, and she'd be right there with the student, being a quiet support. She, in no uncertain terms, expressed those qualities of initiative, loyalty, and leadership. I'm so very happy to present the 2024 Rock Academics Outstanding Senior Award to Avery McDougall. And at this point, I'm going to hand off the microphone to our president and director, Mr. Peter Stark.
My sister Diane, who has a master's degree from Yale and is very successful, said no one ever applauded any of my accomplishments. Performing artists uplift others through their creativity and individuality. We are fulfilled through the appreciation and connection our audience feels. The arts are what most survives from a culture and brings divergent people together with love of beauty and human creativity, which Robert spoke to so eloquently. Education has enabled me to transition from the performing arts to arts management, and it's been humbling for me to have dance stars I looked up to, but with no formal education, ask me for work. The Rock School endeavors to create a professional environment with a focus on both artistic and intellectual education so that our graduates can jump into the field of dance and be prepared for their post-performance careers. Film director Nora Ephron said, "Your education is a dress rehearsal for a life that is yours to lead." I want to congratulate you, and I look forward to bragging about you in future years. Thank you.
And now the graduating seniors' favorite part of the ceremony, where they get to say a few words of their own. Normally it's a short speech, but these are somewhat loquacious students. They can be a touch long-winded, so just prepare. So we're gonna get started with Zoe, who's gonna come up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zoe Shemet. When I was younger, I was quite the reader. I loved reading about all the different characters and their adventures, although I grew quite envious of their wondrous worlds. I would wait each night for Peter Pan to take me off to Neverland so I could forget about my troubles and never grow up. I did grow up, though. And as I did, I got so caught up in the hustle of it all that I never stopped to consider just how magical my life has become. As Miss White always says, because of ballet, I get to live the fantasy. Because both performing and being an audience member at the ballet is magical. It's exhilarating and emotional, and there is no other feeling like it. This year, a moment that stood out to me was when I did the Rock Reach Nutcracker for over 1,000 students from Philadelphia. The kids were very engaged and supportive, and it made me excited to perform for them. The pure euphoria from the audience reminded me exactly why I placed my feet in first position every day. Those kids out there, and everyone who has been moved by a night at the ballet, are precisely why I do it. Why we all do it. But of course, nothing in this world worth having comes easy. Making the decision to move here 2 years ago was the hardest thing I've ever done. Getting up on the stage for Nutcracker and YGP was the hardest thing I've ever done. Natasha's Adagio was the hardest thing I've ever done. Saying goodbye to my dear friends was the hardest thing I've ever done. Surviving my injury was the hardest thing I've ever done. I honestly didn't think I was going to make it through that one. Asking for help was the hardest thing I've ever done. Going through the audition process was the hardest thing I've ever done. Accepting my weakness and humanity was the hardest thing I've ever done. And now, walking out the red doors for the last time to start the rest of my life will be the hardest thing I've ever done. The point is that life is composed of the next hard thing, the thing we think we aren't going to make it through, but we always do. I have my mom to thank for that bit of wisdom. And the things that are stressful, the hard stuff, is the stuff that truly gives our life meaning. I have my dad to thank for that piece of advice. I could not be more grateful for my mom, dad, and sister. Thank you for never failing to put a smile on my face, for always making the time to listen and be there for me, and for helping me work through the tough times. It has truly been a journey, and having such wonderful family with unwavering faith in me has made the good times better and the hard times easier to push through. I have learned immeasurable lessons at the Rock School, not only about ballet, but also about life and myself. Each day, I am reminded of how fortunate I am to have progressed this far in such a demanding field. My gratitude goes out to my teachers and mentors for inspiring and guiding me over the past 2 years. The excellence of the Rock School has prepared me for both a professional career and a life full of meaning. I have always felt an incredible sense of connection with my peers at the Rock School. My heart goes out to my classmates, especially to my fellow graduates. I am so proud of everything you have achieved, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carson Willie. I would like to start by congratulating the class of 2024, and to all of the students here, remember that you are enough, and I wish you all the best in whatever path you choose to take. My journey at Rock all started when I got a summer intensive scholarship from Bo and Stephanie Spassoff at YGP Finals in 2018. I went for 1 week and my mom came with me. When the week was over, my mom remembers me telling her that all I wanted to do was go to a school like Rock, having no idea that I would end up here 4 years later. During these 4 years, I found that my favorite part of dancing had gone from dancing for joy to dancing to win. If I didn't win, the older kids at my studio would bully me and tell me that I was not good enough. And then, lacking any support from my peers, I would question why I was even dancing and quit for a period of time. Despite these occasional breaks, I mostly continued to dance. And at the start of the 2022 school year, I came to Rock. When I arrived, I was newly 16 years old and conflicted. I didn't know if I wanted to be a ballet dancer or if I was only dancing because people would tell me I had a natural gift for dance. I knew I liked to dance, both on my own and especially performing on stage, but I wasn't sure if I was willing to put in the necessary work because, ballet is hard. To make things worse, I had this pain in my Achilles that we later learned was an extra bone that required surgery. So I got this surgery right away, thinking I would be dancing again in the expected 12-week recovery time. However, that did not happen, and the recovery dragged on, and I ended up going home in the middle of last year. That summer, I started to take some classes again, but it wasn't the same. I couldn't do any of the same tricks, turns, or jumps that I used to do so easily. That's when the familiar thoughts about quitting resurfaced. I started thinking that I did not want to come back for a second year. I had pretty much decided that I didn't want to be a professional ballet dancer. Every day, I found myself asking questions like, is this long recovery a sign for me to be done? Or will I ever be as good as I once was? I felt like I had gone from easily doing anything in dance to feeling like I could not do anything. I was so ready to quit. I spoke to my mom about all of this, and that did not go over well. After weeks of fighting back and forth about what I should do with my life, she told me that I should get the dance education I needed at The Rock, regardless of whether I did ballet afterwards, and I could worry about my future after I finished high school. So basically, I had to finish what I started. Getting back at Rock was scary because after nearly a year of recovery time, I still wasn't fully healed and couldn't take full class. It was embarrassing for me to look at myself and not be as good as I once was when I was 15. Mr. Stark, however, never lost faith in me and wanted me to audition for Prix de Lausanne. The audition was rough on me physically, and I had to push through the pain in my foot and do things I wasn't able to do in class. And by November, I still wasn't taking full class, but when I got the pre-acceptance letter, everything changed for me. For the first time in my dance life, I had to work on things I was not good at. I had to work harder and longer than ever before. And looking back, I believe getting into pre and having to work very hard on my Sleeping Beauty variation, having to refine all my movements, and all of this combined gave me a reason to dance again. In many ways, that acceptance letter forced me to grow up and really start looking in the future. I had to learn to take responsibility for myself, learning when to take a break if the pain in my ankle was too much, or whether I should just push through. After months of training, I went to pre and I did not place in the top 9, but this did not matter because I experienced the joy of dancing on stage again. I felt like all of my hard work had paid off. I made it to the final round and got to experience competing at a higher level. I no longer felt like I had to take first place. This feeling followed me to YGB finals, where I got 3rd, and for the first time, I was very happy with just placing. I believe that I've learned more about myself at Rock than anywhere else. Thank you to all of the staff here for supporting me. Thank you to Katie and Robert for always putting up with me for missing academics, for all my rehearsals. After my time here, I can finally dance for joy again and move on to a career in ballet rather than only dancing to compete. I'm so glad to be in this new mindset and continue to work hard and enjoy ballet for its true art form, wherever I am. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Haley Goodwin, and this is my 2nd year here at the Rock School. I really struggled with what I wanted to write about for my senior speech because I questioned what I would even have to say. There's so much that I've learned here, but sadly, our last year has turned into the last week, last day, last hour, down to our very last minutes. The chapter that is our senior year has come to an end. Over my past 2 years here, I've never really been able to reflect on the fact that this is truly the last chapter of my childhood. So focused on the little details and improving my technique that I've lacked the perspective to look back on how far I've come or how much time I have left in this school. Have you ever thought about how this will be our last time dancing in Studio A? Or how we'll never be able to chit-chat in Robert's office to avoid doing schoolwork again? Thinking like this has shown me how much I've grown throughout these years, but it still feels like yesterday that I was at home receiving my acceptance email, finally being able to live out my dream of coming to this school year-round. A couple of weeks ago, my mom and I were having a conversation about how I was struggling with my senior speech, and she gave me an idea of what I could share. I am not a big YGP winner. I'm not a prodigy kid. I don't have a big wow story, and I'm not an Instagram kid. All of which made me feel as though my story at the Rock School was lackluster compared to everyone else's. But what I am is Haley. The Haley who never fails to put on a smile in hopes to brighten someone's day. The Haley who walked through those red doors in 2022 compared to the Haley who is leaving in 2024 is completely different. This made me want to share my personal growth throughout my chapter here. These past 2 years have been full of lessons for me. I've made mistakes in my time here, saying the wrong thing to someone I cared about, choosing the wrong choice in a tricky situation, but I'm learning not to hold myself to the actions of my past. I'm learning that it is all right to fail and make a mistake. I'm learning that it's okay to have to ask for help. Sorry. This school has taught me one of the most important things in my eyes, the ability to forgive. Forgiveness is a powerful thing and is so important to be able to grow as a person and as a dancer. This place is special and unlike any other school, and the main takeaway that I want to remember is to never be afraid to be who you are as an individual. Remember, you are you and you are more than enough. From telling stories through adagios in Jody's class, to Lego My Ego in Mr. Stark's class, to even the spring up and on day dawn pirouettes in Natasha's classes, which I don't think I can still do, this school has made a lasting impact on my life. I will miss this place so much, but I'm so excited to create new memories and new spaces, carrying out the lessons that this school has taught me. Thank you to my family for supporting me on this unconventional path of high school. Thank you to Robert and Katie for always giving me unconditional support in and outside of the classroom. And thank you to the Rock School faculty for seeing the potential in me and giving me the opportunity to train and grow up here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Kai Noble, and this is my second year here. The dictionary defines passion as a strong and uncontrollable emotion, but it has grown into so much more for me, and I would like to tell you my story regarding that. It was a hot summer day when I was first at the Rock School, when I met the incredible Mrs. Stephanie Spazoff. I don't see her out here today, but I know that she is watching at home. When she first walked in to watch our class, I didn't know who she was, and I was unaware of her significance. But as class progressed, I learned to appreciate her presence. It was as we danced that her smile grew larger and brighter, and we received her thumbs up validating our hard work. She radiated with joy, brightening the mood of the entire studio. At the end of the class, I went up to her, asked her a question. I can't exactly remember what that was, though. The question itself didn't matter, because her answer changed my entire perspective on life. She soon recounted her life story, something that I've come to learn that she's very famous for. For those of you that haven't had the pleasure of this conversation, let me give you a very abridged version. Miss Spazoff started dancing at the age of 2, mostly because she was so rambunctious that she needed an outlet. It was during those early years that Miss Spazoff realized her immense passion for the art form. We spoke for an hour. Well, mostly she spoke, and I happily listened intently. And during that time, I had a shining epiphany. There is no success without great passion. Throughout her life, she lived every moment of every day with that passion for dancing, and she experienced success as a result. When she was faced with difficulty, it was with that passion that she persevered. Sometimes it was with the help of her husband, Bo, but mainly with that passion. As time passed, I began to realize how jealous I was of Miss Bazoff. Jealous not because of her ever-burning passion for ballet, but because of her devotion to success within that passion. When I first arrived at the Rock, I was so excited to dance. But as time went on, I realized that my passion for the art form was fading. I had slowly become more and more frustrated as to why, because this thing that once brought me joy, I had fallen so far out of love with. What I was once so passionate about now makes me feel empty. But consequently, I've decided to stop my pursuit of dancing. Yet despite this, I understand that the lessons I've learned here will lead me to my next great passion. I'd like to discuss another one of the most influential women in my life, my Aunt Judy. She has supported me through my challenges and celebrated all of my achievements. My aunt, while never a professional dancer, found her own passion, exhibiting to me that passion can be found in any outlet. For her, it is in caretaking, providing all that she can for others. One time she even gifted me a hefty 5-pound tin of cookies. It's massive. Currently, I find myself in a transitory period, which can be described as an ecotone. If you were to look in the dictionary, it is the intermediary space between two biological environments. But for me, it is this period of metamorphosis. I find myself transitioning between childhood and adulthood, transitioning between passions, and it's at this point that I feel the most insecure. My Aunt Judy brings me hope of finding my next great passion, whatever that may be. Both my aunt and Miss Bazoff found success in their chosen field, simply because they fostered their passion. It is with my aunt's unwavering love, as well as the rest of my supporters, that I can face my uncertainties and find passion once again. Let me end by addressing my plans, which have changed repeatedly over the past few months. Currently, I feel as if I'm trekking through the mud in hopes of finding my footing. I know that I'll soon leave my ecotone and come to find what I'm truly passionate about. Because of my role models, specifically Miss Bazoff and my Aunt Judy, I feel hopeful for my future. These women have taught me that you need to follow what it is you're passionate about, no matter where that may lead you, how long it may take, or the difficulty associated with it. I can proudly say that I have enlisted in the Air Force and plan on later continuing into higher education. Although I didn't expect this as my next step, I'm excited to see where this choice takes me and who I will become as a result. I want to wish you all luck in what it is you're passionate about. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Noe Linz. Thank you all for being here today and sharing this momentous occasion with us. To my fellow classmates, congratulations on having accomplished this major milestone. For me, reaching this milestone has made me reflect on my life and the events and people who have shaped who I am. Like all aspiring ballerinas, my journey has been filled with moments of joy and disappointment. And despite the challenges I have faced, my passion has grown. But instead of speaking about my love for ballet, I want to tell you about the times when my passion wavered. 2 years ago, I made the courageous decision to move from California to Pennsylvania to pursue my dreams and train here. My 15-year-old self had no doubts about the decision and was fully aware of the sacrifices and hard work that were necessary to train at such a high level. However, I had not expected the great amounts of growing pains that I would face. For the first time in my ballet journey, I questioned whether I deserved my opportunities and struggled from severe imposter syndrome. This feeling of inadequacy came to its climax when I did not place at YAGP. Being young and immature, I thought that a YAGP plaque would prove to myself and others that I was good enough. This pressure to prove myself caused me to forget my passion. And when I performed on stage, I never felt more nervous and more unlike myself than I ever had before. I cried myself to sleep that night and felt that I had failed. Flash forward to this past summer, where once again my passion was tested. I spent my summer training with Miss Magali Suarez, but instead of coming home in the best shape of my life and ready to train here at Rock, I was exhausted, burnt out, and full of self-doubt. The entire summer, I felt that I wasn't good enough and could never attain the level of success that I had envisioned for myself in ballet. Shortly after coming home, I filmed an audition video and had a mental breakdown in the studio. I felt inadequate, weak, and untalented. I once again questioned whether I had the talent to make it in this difficult field. My passion and love for ballet was hidden by the fear of failure and uncertainty. Experiences like these that come with pursuing a career in dance can cause passion to fade in and out. And in my journey, I am beyond grateful to my parents for guiding me back to my ultimate North Star. As the daughter of a football coach, I grew up going to football games. However, I still couldn't tell you much about the sport because while everyone else in the stands paid attention to the players on the field, I was looking to the sidelines and watching the cheerleaders and coaches. Although I may not have ended up as an athlete, I still believe that it is those on the sidelines who have helped me the most. My number one cheerleader has always been my mother. When I did not succeed at YGP, my mother was by my side to wipe away my tears. When I had a mental breakdown this past summer, she reminded me of my beauty and my talent, always encouraging me to believe in myself. Then there is my coach, my father, who always is honest yet loving and always knows how to reignite the passion within me. Last year after YGP, he was honest and told me that he didn't recognize the dancer on stage as his daughter. He then told me to learn from this failure and to dance only out of joy and love. During the summer, when I cried to retake my audition video, even if I didn't believe that I would be good enough anyways, he was furious at me. He couldn't believe that I had no confidence in myself. He reminded me of all the people and opportunities that had seen my beauty. And like a good coach, he made me realize that I had to actively choose to believe in myself and stop comparing myself to others. I had to accept who I am, which meant acknowledging my flaws, but also recognizing what makes me special. I experienced a change after that night, and my passion not only reignited, but grew. This past school year, I took my father's advice and the lessons I learned from my past and worked smarter, not harder. I trusted that if I put 100% effort every day, I would end up wherever I put my mind to. And as a result, I have gone to fulfill some of my dreams, like performing as a Sugar Plum Fairy and dancing at Lincoln Center. I didn't feel nervous at all for these performances, but instead felt euphoric. I'd never felt a happiness and joy so intense and had no more questions about whether ballet was my true passion. The last 2 years at Rock have been filled with moments of good and bad. But in the end, I attribute my confidence and passion to my parents and experiences here. I've come to the conclusion that passion has the power to overcome any challenge. And though passion may sometimes falter, true passion is unwavering. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I'm a little taller. Hi, you guys can hear me good? Yeah? Okay. Just making sure. Hi. Thank you all for coming. I'm Colin Stevens. This won't be about my failings or the parts of life that I missed out on as a kid. This won't be a story of all the people that ever let me down either. No, I'm so proud to say that I became a man through the life I lived and through my time here. I became someone I never imagined. Well, for better or for worse. I want to start with the thank yous to lay out an idea of every person that was there. from my mom, my grandmother, and my grandfather. Now, Robert, Katie, Mr. Stark, Telmo, Justin, every last one of you has watched me develop across my couple years in the school. From my first summer here to today, I have only realized that all the progress and that all the good are the things actually worth talking about. I got to learn firsthand what it takes to be a professional dancer, and maybe more importantly, how to grow as a person, taking in knowledge from those around me and meeting some of the most significant figures in my life. I've gotten to grow up around my greatest friends and peers, and this incredible experience will make living a life beyond this point not so torturous. One of my biggest learning hills has been letting go. People, habits, my ego, you name it. Imagine that, among all the taking in I've done, that what I've done the most is watch the things I love slip away. From my first goodbyes to my mother, to the last goodbyes I'll say to my most treasured friends. The worst part is, this never, ever goes away. I learned that from my grandma. Whew. We often go through so much that we lose track of who we thought we were. And this makes life seem so hard. That said, I want to remind myself and every last one of you that this doesn't mean you will never experience the magnitude of these parts of life again. You will get to take in that fresh, lovey feeling again and again. You will find love again for this stranger that can often be yourself. How hard it can be, though, is just the time it takes to mend you to that feeling of being happy. That's also what reminds us to keep going in the first place. I've learned this past year that you must be gracious. Especially as I've gotten older, there's been a few times where I've struggled to feel that. Grace. Whether I failed again, or been hurt, or just felt betrayed. It's pretty easy to be consumed by who and what is deserving of grace. No matter how much you hurt each other, the love you have for someone is never a waste. I have found that when I am able to look past blame, that acceptance becomes easier to sit with. I've learned that it's not about deserve, it's about being able to believe. And when you're too busy deciding who or what is morally deserving, finding serenity becomes impossible. This applies to yourself as much as everyone else around you. Everyone in this room is living for the first time, and that is so scary. What now? I'll be taking my first step in the professional world at Ballet West in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is something me at 14 would never have imagined. I will get to experience life to the fullest and make sure that all of my dreams come true. I still have so much life to live, even as I reach this point. And do I know how I'm going to accomplish all of my goals right now? Absolutely not. So truthfully, I don't really know how long my next dreams will take to come true. But here I am, graduating, finally. Thank you, and so much love to everyone in this room. Congratulations to the Rock School class of 2024. I know that all of you have fought battles that no one may ever see, and you still live to tell the entire world all about it. Thank you for the love, and thank you again all for coming. I'll see you later.
Good morning. I'm Brianna Mancy. In September of 2020, I first began Rock Academics in the professional program. The COVID restrictions were starting to be modified, and students were allowed to return to the classroom for the first time since March. As I walked into the classroom area, I saw that Katie and Robert had made sure that each student sat 6 feet apart. I was given my first set of benchmarks with an explanation of how, by completing the assignments, I would complete all my schoolwork by the end of the school year. But at the end of my first day, I fully understood how Robert, Katie, and the Rock School set each student up with success. Throughout my academic years, Robert and Katie have provided me with encouragement and support. Robert readily helped me with my 8th grade math and balancing the chemical equations for my 10th grade chemistry class. Katie helped me with my Keystone Science labs, whether it was 8th grade physical science, 10th grade chemistry labs, or 11th grade earth science. She also guided me in answering discussion questions or correctly creating works cited pages. Robert and Katie have helped me and others navigate the complex Keystone math projects for Algebra 1 and geometry, and we were also grateful for their assistance. However, Robert and Katie have provided me and others with much more than academic support. They have also created an encouraging academic atmosphere. I always felt welcomed each day when I walked into the classroom. And when I'd submit my weekly benchmarks with my grades, it always meant so much when Katie would tell me, "Good job," or "Well done, Brianna." They'd take us to Starbucks for an afternoon or morning treat. At times, Robert would treat us to an insomnia cookie. They would chaperone our spring formal and Halloween parties and ensure everyone had a good time. On the other hand, the Rock faculty set me and my classmates up for success. When I first entered the professional program, we had to dance in squares outlined in tape, and there were no partnering classes due to COVID restrictions. Although it might be daunting to teach ballet classes this way for some, the Rock faculty rose to the occasion and provided the training we needed and encouragement to dance in our mask. Throughout my experience in the professional division, I have continued to benefit from their dedication to their students. In each ballet class, they thoroughly share their expertise and experiences to make each one of us better dancers. Throughout my Rock experience, my parents have been by my side supporting me in all ways possible. They have helped me with my class schoolwork and projects. Since I'm a commuter student, my mom and dad have driven me to the Rock for classes, rehearsals, and performances. They have always ensured that I have whatever I need. For example, when I needed help with algebra, my mom found my fantastic math tutor, Miss Kim, who assisted me with all my Keystone math classes. I'm standing before you with a grateful heart and would like to express my sincere gratitude to Robert, Katie, Bo and Stephanie Spazoff, Peter Stark, and the Rock faculty and my parents. Each one of you has helped me grow into the person I am today, and I truly appreciate everything you have done for me. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Avery McDougall. When I think about ballet, I think of my sister. The first memories that I have of dance are sitting in the car as we drove her and her friends to and from Rock every day. Each morning, I'd watch them compete on who could put their hair up fastest, laughing with them along the way. She's almost 12 years older than me, and I was just a little kid who idolized her big sister. I wanted to be just like her and go to the big, scary school downtown. Sorry. I started dancing for her, and somewhere along the way, I fell in love with it myself. Every time they'd ask me in school what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would proudly say ballerina. I often talk to her now about her time here at The Rock. Her peers were people like Derek Dunn, Michaela DePrince, Beck-Ann Sisk, and Rachel Richardson, all of whom we now talk about daily as role models of what we want to become. As I look around, I realize that my friends and the family that I have made here all have such big futures ahead of them. Someday, I hope I get to say, "Oh yeah, I went to school with them," when some little ballerina tells me who their favorite dancer is. Through the years, I would like to believe that this school has helped me grow as a person as well as a dancer. I'm thankful to take these pieces of myself that have been put together here with these people into my future. I will take Ann White's ability to find the positive in any and every situation. I will take Mr. Stark's passion. I will take Jody's energy. I will take Tomo's competitiveness and ability to push boundaries. I will take Justin's honesty and understanding. I will take Natasha's kindness and sophistication, and I will take Robert and Katie's patience and acceptance. Along with this, I will take Ann White's balancing turns, Mr. Starks, I love to do the splits. The splits are what I love. And when I do the splits, they fit just like a glove. Jody's runs, Tomo's porta-bra, Justin's jumps and turns, Natasha's turnout, hopefully, and Robert and Katie's intelligence. All of these people have made an impact on the person standing here today. Lastly, I will take each and every word of wisdom that Miss Stephanie Spasoff has shared. I grew up at Rock West, and each year at Nutcracker, she would come backstage and wish all of us good luck. I remember one year when she said we were all beautiful dancers, and after all of the work that we had put in, not to stress, not to worry, that all we could do was share the love we have for ballet with the audience. That is something I will remember each day as I enter the real world. I have put in the time, I've put in the effort, and I have worked hard, and I'm lucky to get to do what I love for a living. I will try my best to share my love with the audience and with the entire world as I make my way next year. To finish, I would like to address my fellow graduates. Having a career in ballet is hard, to say the least, so I want to say a few things you might not hear very often. Struggling does not make you a failure. Fear does not make you weak. You are strong, you are seen. Your worth is not what you see in the mirror each day. Everything will be okay, and I am so immensely proud of each and every one of you. Someday soon, things will be different. Our lives in a year may be unrecognizable. As scary as that is, I have confidence that we can do it. We can be successful, we can make our dreams come true, and I'm so excited to cheer you all on along the way. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2024.
So, Miss Stephanie Spasoff has arrived, and we would be thrilled if she would like to come up and talk.
If you can put love at the start and keep it and share it and know that it's not a personal love, it's a love that everybody should have and does have, and that's just not visible always. And one of the reasons dance is so important and music and the arts is that you're loving something, you're giving something. And if you give from your heart, if you want to bring out beauty instead of horror, bring out patience, gentleness, kindness, that shows in your dancing. Everybody expresses it differently. All the art, all the compassion. And I can't tell you how, well, I don't know how I got it mixed up, but I did. And I got just in time. I've never had my lifts come when they should come. And this guy, this is what I have to just tell you this. This guy was such a wonderful, he was so sweet, nice, beautiful person of color. I don't know what you do now anymore, but he was a lovely man. And it was so funny because he started to say, you look familiar. I must have picked you up. You're the dancer. You're the one. And he had we'd had a conversation before. If they talk, they talk, and I, will talk with them. And if they're quiet, I'm quiet, and I don't, But sometimes they're really interesting, and they really are interested. Some are artists, some are, have kids that were dancing, and so I thought, well, he said, I've picked you up before. And so I was very grateful, and I thought, wow, that's a nice coincidence. He said, during our conversation, I said, I have so many people to be grateful for. I have so many people that have helped me. And I said, but one of the things that I really am grateful for are the ability that we had to have an academic program of consequence. And you didn't have to have the scary moments I did when a very loving father, mother said, you need to have education. And I cried literally myself to sleep because there was no way we could afford things. And I opened one day, we were living in just outside of New York, um, uh, what was then a magazine, and they had um, performing arts high school. And so I asked my folks if that was something I could look into. I did. I got in. I spent the last 3 years of my high school. It was a wonderful program. The ballet was the least wonderful, but it got me the classes, and I had a wonderful experience, and I met so many people that grew to be famous. And then when quick getting all through my career, bow, everything, all that, I'm sitting, just retiring, and helping out till somebody had another job for me. And then that was a whole nother lifetime almost. But parents were calling me, and they'd say, what am I going to do? You say my daughter or my son is talented, but I want a school. They have to have and so I kept hearing it and hearing it, and at that point we were in the old building, and we definitely didn't have the money to spring a school. But what we did was I waited a few whiles, as my little one would say, who's now a big one, and it started to fall into place. I would talk with the parents and then go, well, I went to performing arts high school. I said, let's see. And so I spoke to some people, and after a little bit of rough starts, we eventually ended up with the gentleman you see occupying a space up front. And he happened to actually also be a good friend of both our sons. And so we knew the caliber person he was. And so eventually Rob came, and that's why. But then what happened was, back to the cab, the cabbie said, that's an expression from New York, I think, not here. The cabbie said, weren't you were in the school in New York? Didn't you say? I said, yes. Did I tell you about that? And he said, yes, it was fabulous. It was so unusual. And he said, I really enjoyed talking to you. And he added some things. And he ended up, he said, the idea that you don't have all this glitz and glamour, and not that there's anything bad with that, but we were talking on a higher level. We were talking about what type of person is artistic, are willing to give. We know, my husband and I, and we know, and all the teachers here, what it takes, and to survive, and to have two children and have a good marriage, and it's not easy. And that gentleman who was driving said, I remember you because you were so grateful, and you were so loving, and you were so just doing things for the right reasons. And people are needing so desperately to get outside of their little, and never has the world, I mean, not, I haven't lived that long yet, but never has the world needed love, beauty, just and every quality that brings forth a help, not just to you. Ballet can be so narrow. It can get you so fixated with body, just self. You're looking in the mirror, self. You liking it, not liking it, looking at other people. Well, all of that is what we can change. And this, I've really felt that when I look around, that's what's happening. It's turning. It has to turn, and it has to be motivated by something higher than just, I can do 4 pirouettes, 6 pirouettes. I can jump. It has to be motivated by love and grace and a sense of wanting to give. So I just had the fact that's that guy, and so he remembered. It's coincidence, yeah, maybe. So I'm so sorry. I don't know how I didn't manage to get that, but I didn't get here on time because I really didn't want to take this time at the end. But when the Gabby said, I know you. So anyway, that's the way you want to be known. And that's what will be your individual, absolutely needed sense of whatever good comes to you and you can share. So, and I'm so grateful for all the faculty. Oh my gosh, you're so fortunate, and our lovely, I have to say, new director, but on the right track, really on the right track, and he was wonderful, and I'm happy.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Grateful she got here in time to be part of the ceremony. Wouldn't be the same without her. And now for the part you've all been waiting patiently for, the presentation of diplomas. Seniors, when your name is called, my pages got out of whack here. Please come up and receive your diploma from our President Director, Mr. Peter Stark. And you'll also be able to thank Katie and Stephanie. Okay.
Oh, they're in order. So.
Yeah, they're in order. I double checked them. Okay. Haley Ruth Goodwin. Noe Allison Linz. Taya Makarova. Brianna Marie Mancy. Avery Grace McDougall. Kai Thomas Nogel. Zoe Grace Schmidt. Colin Jacob Stevens. Carson J. Willie. You can go back to your seat. Each one of you has worked so long and so hard. Every one of you deserve every bit of success and happiness. And I'm sure life has plenty of it in store for you, for every one of you. You did it. Your family and friends, those here and those not. We are all so utterly proud of every one of you. It is with great pleasure that I present to you all the Rock Academics class of 2024. Thank you all so much for coming and being here on this very special day. Please join us down on the second floor in the cafe where there is a reception for the graduates. Thank you.